Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, the 2nd of June. I just dropped off JP at summer camp, and I've just taken the dogs to the local dog park next to where the camp is. This was a pretty good weekend. I had a couple of open houses, a couple of showings for my duplex in St. Pete. That was kind of hectic. I advised both tenants in the duplex. It was gonna be early morning on Sunday. Um, One was pretty cool about it. So, oh yeah, I told them, three days out, gave them the reminders I do every day. The day of, and at it was at 10 a.m. on Sunday, which is kind of early. I don't like working on Sunday that early, but tenant A was like, "Cool, okay, Christian, we're out the property." They sent me a text by like 9:20. Tenant B didn't respond when I sent the text like, "Hey, just a reminder," because they always ask for reminders. I show up and they're asleep. Like, oh my god, and they're pissed because they had a late night. Obviously, it was a good weekend for them. The couple they were pissed that I was there, and were revealing some things that they don't like about how they're always vacating for the property. um, it is what it is. It's unfortunate. I gave them my word that I'm going to do my best to avoid Sunday morning, early morning Sunday showings. But in my defense, that was the only time this prospective buyer had. They were looking at 5 properties, and they wanted to do it initially when I was doing my open house later that day. And I have to be there to open the doors for them because the tenants don't want to give out the keys to anyone. So 10 o'clock was the only time that worked for us. The other properties they were looking at were vacant, so it wasn't fair. But I promise I'll avoid that in the future. At all, make my best attempts to avoid giving them an early Sunday morning showing. The open house went well. I had 6 people show up to a new construction in St. Pete. And it's interesting because, like, in St. Pete, I'm seeing like this California-esque style of homes where, like, clean lines, gray or white exteriors, Art Deco, font giving the address. And it was across the street from another new build from like the year earlier. But the neighborhood itself, was is up and coming. Not a bad neighborhood by any stretch of the imagination, but the house is probably the most expensive house on that street, which you never want. The builder obviously had the return on investment that they're looking for, and the agent that offered me the open house, it was the first day that it was on the market, so I enjoy that because that gets the most activity. And as we're transitioning to fully into a buyer's market, what I'm noticing now is that I'm able to call agents when I want to do open houses for other listings, and it doesn't matter if the listing is just new. Like, if typically agents like to do open houses the first week, first 2 weeks at the most, and I'll offer them to do weeks 3, 4, and 5, or etc. But now I'm asking agents, hey, what do you have coming on the market? And they're saying I have this property and this property, and I picked the one that's closest to my home and the one that looks the nicest, and also the one that's the most expensive. And I'm able to get these listings, first week they're out, first day they're on the market. That's probably akin to my relationship with these agents that I've been doing open houses for over a year. Some of them are in my brokerage, some are not, but it's also a testament to the fact that there is a lot of inventory on the market. So I do a lot of canceled expireds and for sale by owners. So it's very possible you could have like 4, 5, 6 active listings or more. I currently don't, but it's a lot of agents do, especially the ones I work with. They're very successful. So when there's a new one that's coming on, they're not necessarily able to do that open house because they're stretched thin with their other listings. So I'm getting more and more opportunities to be the first agent to do an open house, which is pretty cool. The 2 groups that I met during my period at the open house, one was far more interested than the other, so I'll be following up with them, with their agent, because both groups were represented. But doing my best to just keep the wheels turning, just making sure that if it's not that property they're interested in, perhaps they'd like to see mine. So yeah, that's the day. That was the weekend. The weekend was cool. Today I'm going to be calling some for sale by owners, some expired and cancels. There was a lot as of June 1st that hit the market, but also I'll be reaching out to other agents to do their open houses because there's just a lot of inventory, and I don't mind adding to that inventory, but I'd much rather find someone who's raised their hand and said, "Hey, I really want to sell my property," and work with them. But to the buyers that are just walking around, kicking tires and attending all these open houses, my job is to find the ones that don't have an agent and let them know that I'm a local expert in the areas that I work in, and persuade them that I'm the one to help them get the best deal for the properties that they're looking for. So that's the job this week. This week I want to secure another 4 open houses for this upcoming weekend. Do 2 on Saturday, do 2 more on Sunday. I'll leave my Fridays alone, and yeah, that's the plan for this weekend. It's to get some good hustle. So yeah, Christian DeBouche, licensed realtor with Real Broker. Thank you for joining me on this Monday morning. Talk to you later.